equal voices, equal choices, and equal spaces. Isn't that what we all wish for? I certainly do. I have a daughter, 21 years old, currently pursuing her veterinary medicine. But what pleasantly surprised me when she was in class 12 and during her first year admission process was that there was significantly more number of girls taking admission in the medical colleges as compared to boys. More number of girls, which means more number of women qualified doctors practicing, isn't it? But later on, when I was visiting the super specialty hospitals for the treatment of my mother and my parents and in-laws, what I found that the doctors treating, or rather heading the departments, was always a male doctor. Even Lancet, the leading medical journal, states that women practicing medicine in India is only 14.2%. And that makes us ponder on few things. What is really happening to the immense talent and potential of our girls and women if they are not joining the workforce? Is India as a country losing on the economic contribution because of this low female workforce participation? And is this impacting the country's global gender equality index? And so, most importantly, are we really creating equal spaces for our girls? And if not, we really have a serious issue at hand. As pointed out by Michelle Obama, no country can truly flourish if it stifles the potential of its women and deprives itself of the contribution of half of its citizens. Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sangeeta Desai, a strong proponent of gender justice, a teacher by profession, a gender researcher by choice, and a banker by incident. Let me take you to 23 years of this professional journey. As a young girl, I wanted to pursue liberal arts. But wait, who pursues arts if you're a bright student, I was told. So I completed my graduation in commerce and economics. Then I had two choices, to do a CA or to do an MBA. I ended completing doing my MBA. And the next logical step was to become a corporate banker, which I did. Balancing my career as a banker, my responsibilities as a mother, and with my husband's constant traveling engagements, I lived across various geographies: Jordan, UK, Egypt. But somewhere deep inside, there was a void. A gnawing feeling was always there. I wanted to pursue further studies in a subject that truly interested me and wanted to work in a space that truly inspired me. So after 13 years of corporate banking, I left my job. And I got enrolled in a PhD program in gender studies. Now, as a part of that PhD program, the director of the center gave me a teaching assignment. And before I realized, I had transitioned from a banker to a student and then to a teacher. My first day as a teacher, the students had taken their seats in the class. I was full of self-doubt. Can I teach? I have never done teaching before. What if the students don't understand me? What if the students don't like me? And with this self-doubt, I entered the class. New looks, new faces. But there was this one face that caught my attention. Has this student entered my class by mistake? And looking at my puzzled expression, the student spoke. Hello, ma'am. I am Namrata. I'm 56 years old. I always wanted to do my post-graduation. But after graduation, I was married, and then all these years went in taking care of my family. So here I am, coming to college after 35 years. Namrata had just moved beyond her boundaries, entered a new territory, setting an example not only for herself, but for everyone around her. Namrata had exercised her choice. Yes, maybe a bit late in life, but she did. And so did I. And that was the moment when all my self-doubt melted away. And it became crystal clear to me. It was about voices, choices, and spaces. Many of us, as young girls and boys, probably never voiced our opinion. We were told what is right, what is wrong. This is the right profession for you, this is not. But let's think for a moment here. Who enforces these boundaries on us? Why are we so afraid of challenging the norms? Why are we so afraid of asserting our identities? What inhibits us? Is it the first discrimination that we face? And who sows these seeds of discrimination in the first place? Sometimes it's our very own families. Let me narrate to you the story of Seema, whom I met on a development project in Aurangabad, where Seema was a target beneficiary of an SHG program, and we were evaluating that program. Seema came from a very poor household. Probably she was 27, 28 years old. She said that she was a very bright student when she was a young girl and wanted to pursue her further studies. But the school in that village was only till class 7. So if you had to study further, then you had to go to a nearby town. So she was withdrawn from the school. However, her poor parents managed a bicycle for her brother, who then went to that nearby town to complete his education. Well, Seema could not. So that little limited resources which the family had was spent on the education of the brother and not on her. So sometimes, it's the families that discriminate between the treatment given to girls and to boys. Better schooling, expensive schooling for boys, not so for girls. STEM courses for boys, other courses for girls. Education looked as an investment for boys, an expense for girls. And this discrimination keeps on happening, subtly, systematically, but keeps on happening. And then it starts growing in the society. It takes various forms of gender-based violence, sex-selective abortion, honor killings, sexual harassment at workplace, and the list goes on. So what do we do? No wonder they say violence starts in the womb and ends in the tomb. Discrimination and exploitation doesn't happen only in families, but also happens in workplaces. Subtle discrimination when it comes to hiring or promoting women. My past organization, the HR policy clearly stated, we are gender-neutral organization. But when it came to hiring women, my male colleagues, the line managers clearly told the HR person not to hire any women because after marriage, after babies, they will leave and go. So, where are the equal spaces that we are really talking about? If we really want to live in an egalitarian world, a place which is equal, a place which is free, a place where everybody is living to its maximum potential, then what we need is transformative changes. Change in our social norms, structures, policies, laws, regulations, yes. But more importantly, change in our mindsets. Change is happening gradually, slowly, but definitely. And that's why with positive policy frameworks, we see more CXOs, women, or more women getting elected as board members. But let me tell you, this change is not restricted in the urban scenario. It's also there in rural places. For instance, I was part of a state university and I was working on a research project on tribal and rural women. And what I saw there was through credit facilities, skill training, capacity building, women who had never been to school had started their own small micro enterprises, sending their daughters to school, standing for elections, participating in the Lok Sabhas, telling what they want in the village council meetings, making their own spaces. Not only having a say outside, but also in the family, demanding a joint titling of their properties from their husbands. I still remember the words of Savita. Savita was a 48-year-old woman met her in Aurangabad. We were assessing the SHG bank linkage program and how does bank loans impact women entrepreneurs, rural women entrepreneurs. Savita never went to school. She was a daily wage earner till she joined an SHG program where she was given certain basic skills, some basic capacities, and also a small loan with which she started a tea stall. And then she said, "माझं धाडसच माझं भांडवल. My courage is my capital." In another district, in Nandurbar, we were actually evaluating the empowerment index out over there. Nandurbar is a small district. It is the tribal district on the borders of Maharashtra and Gujarat, where we met a development worker and we asked what does empowerment mean to her. So she had been to a residential school, Ashram Shala, which for tribal girls, and she said, "The day I held a bar of soap in my hand was the first time I had a bath with water and soap also." And that was empowering. In Yavatmal district, another tribal rural region of Maharashtra, this lady said, "Now I can confidently walk in the bank and withdraw money." And that is empowering. In the slums of Mumbai, we were working on a menstrual health and hygiene project for adolescent girls, trying to understand their perspectives. And we did some intervention activities there. And the 16-year-old girl from Malwani said, "अब मैं पापा को बोल सकती हूँ कि मेरे लिए भी एक sanitary napkin लाने के लिए." Now I have the courage, garnered the courage, to even tell my father to get a sanitary napkin. So the idea of empowerment is different depending upon the context that you come from. And many such inspiring stories we find of girls and women empowering themselves, transforming their lives in rural and urban India through gender equality. But truly, what is gender equality? Gender equality is having equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities irrespective of your gender identities. But alone, is that sufficient? Probably not. Because we need equity along with equality. And the implementation of one versus the other can lead to dramatically different outcomes, especially for the marginalized. So equality is like giving a resource, equal resource to everyone. Whereas equity is giving a resource depending upon your context and your needs so that the outcomes can be same. So equality is like giving a shoe to everyone to wear. And equity is giving a shoe that really fits you. So probably we need equity along with equality, and only then gender equality can become a lived reality. So women may not always be moving beyond their boundaries, but I can assure you, they're negotiating their boundaries to become empowered. Empowered is to have power within, power to, and power over. Power within is your own knowledge, your own innate capacities, your self-belief that you can change, learning a new skill. Power to is taking economic decisions in a realm which is not only dominated by women, but also by men. And power over is about control. Control over financial assets, physical, knowledge-based assets, to start a new enterprise or start an income-generating activity. In conclusion, I'll say that what are the things that we need to change? Is it only regulatory changes? That apart, most important thing for empowerment is to change our social outlook. And what all of us can do out over here is, first thing, let's locate discrimination first. Stop it before it leads to gender-based violence. Empower our girls economically so that they can become active agents of the economy. Third, empowerment means different things to different people, so let's respect the context from where a person comes. Empowering self is important. What is more important is empowering others who are not those resourceful. So let's empower them. Another thing, every opportunity that we are denying to our girls can lead to negative consequence to the country's GDP growth and the country's global gender equality index. And the last, education is an important tool. Let's democratize it. Let's empower, because voices are to be heard, choices are to be made, and spaces, they are to be made inclusive. Thank you.